We believe every business needs marketing, and we are here to make it simple.
Genie Rocket is the all-in-one marketing tool.
With a unified inbox,
landing page and website builder,
calendar integration, email and SMS campaign capabilities,
unlimited contacts,
marketing automations,
social media scheduler, unlimited sales pipelines, and so much more.
At the end of the day, a tool is a tool. And there are thousands of tools out there that you can use to help you reach your goals. But that's exactly it. It's how you use them. And without the right coaching, you really don't know how to use them. So that's why we're here. Our team of experts is here to coach you and guide you so that you can hit your marketing goals and ultimately your business goals.
Our network of small business owners is designed to keep you connected and engaged with your fellow entrepreneurs.
Genie Rocket is for solopreneurs, it's for small business owners, it's for marketing teams, it's really anyone that has a product or service to sell that you want to get better at marketing. So we have people in our community that are part of bigger teams and they're the marketing director or they're the marketing manager. We also have small business owners in here that want to learn it themselves and do it themselves. And then we have individuals that are just starting out as solopreneurs so they can be equipped with everything that they need in the awesome community with all the tools so they can get the results that they desire.
With our community, you have the ability to learn and grow in marketing together.
As you can see, there's a lot that makes us different here at Genie Rocket. One of our favorite things is our Be a Marketer workshop.
The first Friday of every month at 2 p.m. Central, we have a BAM Be a Marketer workshop, online or in person.
It is a free marketing workshop that we do the first Friday of every month at 2 p.m. Central.
BAM, Be a Marketer. And I can't wait to see you there. Really quiet for a second. Okay, ready to go? Cool. So you guys, welcome to BAM. BAM stands for Be a Marketer. The reason we put these on, and a lot of you guys have been here before, if it's your first time, we do these twice a month. The goal is to give you some free marketing information to help you grow your businesses and to launch it forward. Today we're going to be talking about AI, and we're actually going to be talking about AI plus human, right? Not just AI, because robots can suck. But when we power them with human and with our knowledge and performance, we can get really, really great performance. So we're going to do that. So before we get started into that, let's do very quick intros. If you just want to say your name and your business name. If you're online, thank you so much for joining us online. In the chat, if you can put where you're from and then name and business name, we'll do that in chat while we do that here in person, and we'll get started. So Jessica, you want to kick us off?
Sure.
Oh, I am so sorry. I missed it. I'm oblivious.
Oh. Hi, Mike. I'm Jessica. Jessica Swan, the Keller Point. What are you waiting for? Let's get to the point. Do you want me to throw it at you? Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it. Whoop! I love it. But I should have got video of that, right?
Do I sit next to you?
No, I don't know. Sure.
I need to look at
whatever you want.
Hi, my name is Sarah Curley. I am the Vice President of Real News Public Relations. Our tagline is publicity at the speed of news.
Whoop.
Hello, I am Marshall Lear. I'm the owner of Rockbox Fitness, and I wasn't prepared.
Hey, my name is Evan. I'm from The Annuity Expert, and we roll a ton of money.
My name's Dalton Jansen with Ace Card Services.
Natalie Sherman with Performance Chiropractic.
James Cardo with the Mats and Flower of Life Chiropractic.
Jessica Bryant with Sleep Happy Consulting.
Brian Potts with J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
Dr. Adam with Liberated Chiropractic in Grapevine.
Vong Nguyen with Nautical Bulls.
I'm John. I work here.
Anybody?
Danny Atkinson to Chai 4 Cafe.
All right. We get everybody? Think we got James already in there? Cool. Great, guys. Well, thank you guys all for being here. Some great local business representation. This is awesome. This is awesome. Make sure, too, to stay afterwards so you guys get to know each other a little bit more, so you can check out Nautical Bulls and check out To Chai 4 with amazing places, and then end with maybe a workout at Rockbox. let's jump into, today we're going to be talking about AI plus human, which gives us powerhouse performance. And if you guys aren't already a part of our community on School, this is where you can join in. We post a lot of stuff on here just so we can continue the conversation of marketing. So if you're not on School yet, recommend you join us. You can go to joinbam.co. That's another way you can get there. And we're going to jump in right now. So let me ask you guys a question. What has the longest term value in digital marketing? What do you guys think? And if you're online in chat, throw in, what do you believe has the longest term value in digital marketing? It might be. Just throw out ideas. It's a big question. What do you think the answer is? Video. Okay. Reels. Okay. Your brands. Yep. It's good. None of these are I was going to say, none of these are wrong answers, right? So don't be scared to throw stuff out. What do you guys think? Podcasts? Video podcasts. Love it. Any other thoughts? These are all great. What has the longest term value in digital? So you guys are all right. I mean, the answer is content, right? And content can come in a lot of forms, right? That can be podcast. It can be video podcast. It can be reels. Having great digital content and having it out there has the greatest, longest term value. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper. What do you guys think is the best method to get that content out? So let's say you have a video or have a podcast or have great content somewhere. How do we get that out? What's the best way to get that content out? MySpace? No. But I love the throwback. We started an 80s throwback thing earlier today, didn't we? Talked about glamour shots. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good answer. Did you read my notes before?
Posted on social media like Facebook. Yeah. So if you create content and you just share it on your social media site.
And you guys online post in the comments too. What do you think the best method to get your content out is, whether that's video or podcast or some other form of content?
But what about like natively uploading it to your website and then it's like bogging down your website? Because then YouTube owns it, right? Like who actually owns the content? Is that what you're talking about? Like putting it on a website you own?
Yeah, put it on a website you own. And then sharing from there.
We'll get to all that. That's a good question. Yeah. So we can get in the weeds a lot on that, but let's just think real big picture. What are some ideas, maybe instead of even not thinking about the best way, what are some ways you can get content out into the world? Yep. What else? What do you guys use when you're posting stuff, when you're getting stuff out into the world? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Yep. Marshall's trying to get the right answer. He's like, how do I answer this the correct way? Yeah, so all those are great ways to get content out, right? It doesn't just sit on your computer in Google Docs or in Microsoft. It gets published out through one of those ways. So we discussed that. So some of the common, what we call broadcast channels are things like emails, like email marketing, right? Like, do you guys do some email marketing for your business? If not, you should. Just sending out messages, doing great videos, short form or long form content and things like YouTube, getting those out there. Social media, obviously, posting social media posts, doing podcasts. Those are all great common broadcast channels to get out your message. But let's talk about, is there a better way? Is there a content hub? Where should all that stuff truly live? Should we just kind of spread it out all over the place and hope something sticks? Or what do we think a great place that could be a content hub might be? Marshall knows all the correct answers. Website's a good one, yeah? Yeah? Any other ideas? Where should all this stuff eventually end up living? The cloud? Yeah, that's a good answer. Where? Okay, maybe MySpace could come back. I bet most people in here might not even ever got to experience the beauty of MySpace. All custom HTML and CSS. Yeah. So the answer that we've seen, and this might be surprising to some of you, really is a blog on your website. Yeah. So Marshall, three points for Marshall for that one. Good job, Marshall. It did get competitive, yes. We didn't have any formal rules posted, but we'll make them as we go. So what's some of the neat things about having a blog? Blogs have been around forever. They kind of have like a dusty feel to them, like because they've just been around and that word kind of has lost some of its magic of what it means and is. But think about this. Whenever you read a really good social post or a really good email or watch a really good video or listen to a really good podcast, what happens if it just ends there? If the story starts and stops on rented lands and on that channel, then you never get a chance to push them to a next step, right? It's here, and then maybe it goes away. What I mean by that is having everything inside of something like a blog means you can open up the conversation on any of these channels. You can create a video, and then to learn more or to take a deeper dive, go check this out, go read more here. I know you've all seen links that have had the read more. Let's see, this is right. Let me get this back up here, sorry. Technical difficulties. Hopefully we can get that to work.
You know what's good about this is it happens to you also.
It does, probably more so. Okay, we're gonna shift our eyes over to this screen. But with the blog, the neat thing too is this almost becomes your own search engine, right? Every time you post a new blog, you have another page that Google can crawl and index. And this can be where you land people after they engage in some of your content, right? So for a chiropractor, there might be something on social media that gets published about something new in the chiropractic field that he wants to share, or a different type of therapy or way people are thinking. He's not going to want to write that whole thing out on social and try just to vomit it all out. It needs to be a curiosity hook. And then the read more, I won't get you guys distracted over here. I'll switch this one too. The read more is going to go to the blog. That's going to have all the content. It's going to answer all those questions. And maybe it's going to have another video and it's going to have everything there. And I'll kind of unpack that a little bit more. But I want you to be thinking as we're going through this, how this could work with all the channels that you're managing now and how to have it all live or end up going to a blog with all your content and become your own search engine. So we're going to talk about the importance of blog posting strategy for business and again, the AI. I didn't forget about AI, I promise. AI wasn't my hook just to get you guys here. We're going to talk about it, but how to use AI to actually help you create really great blogs without you having to think you've got to sit down and just pull it out of your head. So again, your blog is not rented land like social, meaning social media could go away, right? If you build your whole business on Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, TikTok, any of those could go away. Those aren't your contacts, right? There was that like year and a half ago where Facebook went down. We had a bunch of clients that were using Facebook as their CRM. And all of a sudden it's like, we can't do any business. Why? Because Facebook's down. Like, really? So building your blog, a blog is something that you own, social media channel doesn't own. You get to position yourself as the subject matter expert, right? So if you're trying to get someone to come into Chai4, I want you to be the chai expert. So if there's a blog on like the background of chai and the cultural significance of what made it popular or what have you, that would be a great spot where you could give someone a link to go to your blog, read that information, positions you as that subject matter expert and authority, and then draws me to a next step, whether that's coming into your shop, getting a discount, what have you. And then you can link all your other content back to your blogs. And this goes into creating that curiosity, enlightenment, and commitment. So if we think about like if you're doing a podcast or you're doing a video or you're posting something on social, don't try to start and end that whole conversation on that channel. Just try to open up the curiosity loop so people want to read more. If you guys think about like going through your emails, how many of you see the emails at the end where it's always like learn more, read more, something else? There's always a link. Very rarely is it just everything you need to know right here. right? Because they want you to go to their site to read the full content and engage yourself in a next come to your page and they read that information and they take it in, and then the commitment is getting that next step or that call to action of what to do next. So if it's JDog and he's the expert of junk removal and junk haul, he might have something on his blog talking about, spring cleaning or some tips on how to get really organized. And he's going to actually give some high value content, some tips. And then at the end of that, he might say, get a percentage off or request a consultation. He's not going to lead with that at the beginning. He's going to end with that after he's answered a question or given value. Does that make sense? Obviously, we need to understand our target audience. We can't be everything to everyone. So in marketing, like having a persona we're going after, James might have someone very specific for jiu-jitsu with the mats that he is really going after. And he's got to know what that person wants and also what they're trying to avoid. Right? If he's just making a general message about, here's my services, here's what I do, here's how much I cost, that's going to fall on deaf ears because he truly doesn't understand that individual enough to know what do they truly desire and what are they truly trying to avoid. And there's a lot of bullet points you could go through to try to identify your persona. But if you just stick to these two, that's going to get you really far. What do they want? What are they trying to avoid? And that's going to help us when we're creating content, just thinking about that. Who am I writing for? What does this person actually want? And what are they actually trying to avoid? And that's going to help you form your content if you're writing content for blogs or social or putting it into the AI bot, which we will talk about. Okay, so here is some really tactical step-by-steps if you're trying to figure out how to create topics for your blog to then use for social. I want you to think that way. I don't want you to think about what are all the things I need to post on social and then how do I create blogs from that. You want to think about what are some good blog topics that you can create, and then you pull social pieces from that. You could have one blog that could potentially have weeks worth of social content. If you have a really deep blog, each of those sections could be a different piece on social that you're writing about throughout the week, and you're just driving people back to that blog to answer the question. So you want to first list out all your core products or services, and then you want to list out the FAQs for each of those core services. So for Evan, for example, Evan might have something about in the insurance space, someone has a question, like what would be a common question someone would have on insurance?
How much commission does an agent get from annuity?
Cool, and that would be someone that's interested in becoming an insurance agent, right? So he knows the person he's talking to is an insurance agent, and he might write a blog post about how much does an insurance agent make on commissions, right? Like that could be a burning question. If he writes that as the blog topic, and then the blog is answering that question in depth with video, that's what's going to get lots of traffic potentially and become a really interesting topic for him to post on social, right? Because you can see now you could have a great social graphic that says, hey, do you want to know how much insurance agents can make on commission? Check this out. Boom. Then it goes to the blog on your site, read it all, the next steps. So those are the two simple steps to take if you're thinking about how in the world do we create content. It really is just as simple as listing out all of your products and services and then coming up with your FAQs for each of those. And all you're doing is answering questions. Because what do people do when they're typing into Google? They're asking questions. And they're questions about your products and your services. So all we're doing is providing the answer to those questions. And the more you do that, one, the more you'll be seen as the industry expert. And two, there's a more chance you're going to show up in Google. If someone's asking the question and you're posting the answer, it's going to connect this. So the FAQs end up turning into your content hub. So you answer each FAQ with a high-value blog post. And then I'm going to show you how you can actually leverage AI to help you format the intro, the bullet points, and the outro. So if you get into a good habit of this, like we've done this some with John, where he'll like once a week or twice a week, he'll just create a new blog post. And so he goes and he comes up with the content, he writes the full blog post, and then he'll go and post something on social that will link back to the blog. And then the end of the blog will draw people to a next step, right? And the more you do that, you have all this owned content that answers all the burning questions of your dream customer or client. And you've got lots of stuff that you can post from. And you could even take a blog from a year ago. If things get stale, you could update it, modify it, and repost about it and link it back to there. You don't have to always be creating brand new, fresh content every time. So if you guys were here for the first AI BAM we did, we talked about Jim the plumber. If you haven't met Jim yet, this is Jim. He's a made-up stock photo dude, but we're just gonna pretend he's a plumber. And so we're just gonna kind of show you like the process he would go through, because we know that he needs to be found online, engaged with prospects and customers. He doesn't have the time and expertise to write all his social media posts and then do all the blogs, do everything by himself. And he can't afford to have someone just to manage all the marketing for him, right? And the truth is there's not always just a magic button to push to say, hey, just do it all for me. I don't want to think about it. That'd be great if there was, but even if you hire agencies to do that, there's still a lot of back and forth communication that has to happen. You're not turning off your brain. So Jim, as the plumber, might be thinking as an FAQ, like, how do I prevent, these might be some questions, frequently asked questions, how do I prevent leaks in my house? How can I unclog a stubborn drain? How often should I replace my water heater? How can I prevent frozen pipes during the winter? So these could be 4 very distinct blog posts that he writes, and he would just answer those questions. So blog post 1 could be how to prevent leaks in your house. Answers the burning question of how do I prevent leaks in my house, right? Super easy. So what I want you guys to do right now, if you have paper or a computer, is we're just gonna take a few minutes, and online, you guys can do this too. If you have paper, just wanna open up notes on your computer. Just write down your core products or services. And then all I want you to do is just pick one of those, one of your core products or services, and write down 5 simple questions, not the answers to those questions, but just like Jim the plumber, I want you to write down 5 questions people might have about one product or service. So for Nautical Bowls, it could be something about, because you guys use all natural ingredients, right? So it could be something about ingredients, like how healthy is this actually, or how many carbs or calories does this bowl have? So different things that you might get as commonly asked questions from your dream clients or customers. If anyone needs a pen or piece of paper, you can raise your hand, and one of my lovely assistants will be happy to bring one to you. And if you have any questions in this process too, feel free to ask any questions if you get stuck. And these don't have to be extremely complicated. Most of the questions we get are pretty simple, right? Like the questions that Marshall, you get might be easy, right? It's like, hey, how much does it cost? How hard is it? Do I have to know how to box before I come in here? Like really simple questions. So we don't have to overcomplicate it.
Actually, when Dropbox has that, like on the corporate side, there's a frequently asked questions.
There you go.
I need to create some to put in my marketing.
That's right.
And you're right. It's in a box. Yeah, simple stuff.
Simple stuff. Yeah. Usually we try to answer overcomplicated questions that no one's really asking because we think that's what they want to hear. But the truth is we went way beyond what they need to hear. We didn't keep it simple. We went a little bit too complicated. And a good point too is usually if you want to make these even more engaging, when you think about doing FAQs and turning these into blog posts, is doing great videos, and those can be simple videos. But if you're answering those through video content, you get points from YouTube. If you shoot the video, put it on YouTube, put that in your blog, that helps with your online, just the YouTube SEO, and then you're just the overall experience for the user. They get to see something and watch it and to read it. Does anybody have anything they want to share? Core product or service, and a few FAQs they have for it?
Sure.
Go for it, Brian.
Oh, you don't need that. All right, so obviously I use junk removal as my core line product. So first question would be, why do junk removal? What's the cost of junk removal? What do you do with it? And then we get simple questions like, do you take mattresses? Do you take electronics? Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Very good. Anyone else? Dalton?
Okay, so Ace Card Services provides point of sale systems and helps you with your business. So the question is, what will Ace do for me that I'm not already getting with the existing provider? How hard is it to switch? When somebody needs help, how long will you take to fix my problems? How expensive is it? And what kind of hardware do I have to use your service?
Love it. Those are great. Here's the neat thing, guys. A lot of these, even though they sound simple, most of the time people won't come to you with their objections. They'll answer it in their own head, or they'll be scared to answer it, or they'll assume the answer. So by doing this, you're also helping people overcome the objections to your product or service by you answering the most commonly asked questions. So as simple as that sounds, that can have profound effect on business because you're helping people overcome those. Anyone else want to share? All right, Sarah.
So we have two services. Two services. We get our clients in the news. So that's earned media appearances as a publicist. And then we also handle their video podcasting. So two services. So I broke down 5 questions per each because they're typically like, I want a video podcast, or I want to do PR, or I want to do both. How long should my show be? Should I have a solo show, or should I include guests? How often should I do a video podcast? What's the cost of the video podcast, and where do I post my video podcast? And then on the PR side, can you get me on the Today Show? Yes. Local media, how difficult is it to get local media? Very easy if you have a great story. The cost, of course, is always a question. And then how to use in my marketing is also a great question. That's the right question they should be asking.
Yes. So you brought up a great point too. By having those FAQs, as you're helping people understand the right questions to ask and helping reframe their mind a little bit. Like, how many of you guys actually wanted to know the answers to those questions? Right? Like, they're really, really good questions. So you've got to think about that for your business. Like, what are those burning questions that people want to know the answers to? That's why people click on links to get the answer, right? So with Sarah, it's like, how many times should I be doing my video podcast? Like, it would not be incredibly wise of her just to give that away, like right there on the post. It's, hey, we've done some research and we have the answer. Click here to find out. And then boom, they're on her site, on her blog, like in that design experience, reading all that. And then she can invite them to a clear next step. That's all designed by Sarah, not all designed by MySpace or TikTok. Yes.
So for the nonprofit world, would the product and service be like volunteering, donating? That's the product. So
absolutely.
So maybe how much of a time commitment is required to volunteer, or what are the top most important needs of the center, or what are the items that your clients request the most for material resources, and maybe even like what are the top prayer requests for your clients that you serve?
Yeah, like those are great. Yeah, those are fantastic. And that's important to note with the nonprofit. It really comes down to what are the initiatives or the goals that you're trying to move across the finish line. It's not always a product or service you're trying to sell. It could be a mission you're trying to accomplish, and what are some questions within that mission. So those are great. Yes, we got time for one more.
Well, it's kind of a question. So since we just did this ourselves, would it be a good idea maybe to sit down with someone who's not us to ask them what their questions are about our business, so that, because I feel like as you're talking, like I hear them easier from someone else than thinking of myself. So
I love that.
Would that be a good action item for us to do this next week? Okay.
So somebody that knows nothing about what you do, that's going to be the
Yes.
best person to ask.
Yeah, that's really great. Well, because, yeah, and you bring up a good point. Like, all of us are in here because we are at some level subject matter experts of what we do, and we can get stuck in being the, that smartest person in our own field. And it's hard to zoom out sometimes and really understand, like, what questions are people really wanting to know about, the stuff that James does or the stuff that you guys do. Like, we have to zoom out. So that's a great way, is to ask someone else for feedback. So the next part is once you have that, then it's leveraging AI to help you guys write blog posts and, just get it out there. And it doesn't always have to have a video. If you have, a great headline with a great formatted blog post, it positions you as the expert. It is helpful. We have all heard the term of SEO. There's a million different definitions of it. But the truth is blogs are a great way to increase your search engine optimization. That simply means when people are looking for your product or service online, how it organically gets found. The more that you put out into the world, I used to use the reference of a library for us MySpace generation, that the Dewey Decimal System, all the different cards you would have, you're adding new cards into that library every time you publish a new blog posting page. So you're giving more content for Google to pull from. So if someone is searching for, best junk removal experts near me, it's going to show the Google My Business locations and reviews. It's going to show paid ads, and it's going to show at the bottom all the organic stuff, which means all the blog posts and things that we've put out there in the world. So it's important to do that. And then it gives you something to link to in your social and emails, like have a reason to send out an email, right? If you put a new blog post out there, now Sarah can say, hey, if you've always wanted to launch a video podcast and you've never knew the answers to like how to launch one or how many times to do one, we have put that all together for you. Go check it out here, right? It gives her a reason to send that email to get people to her blog, to then see her as the expert and then call them to a next step, right? So emails, videos, social media, podcasts, all of those can link back to your blog post. It's what you own. It's not rented land. It's on your website. It's your content that you created. And then here's where I have seen so many people fail. So it's simple, but a lot of people fail in this area, is not putting calls to action at the end of their blog posts. It's like, great, glad you got the information. See you later. That can be as simple as something like this. Like for JDog, for professional service companies, it could be get a free quote. If you really want to go deeper, if it's a really high ticket complex item, you might have a download link to it, like download the leak prevention checklist. You're just giving more value to people. So this follows a very specific sequence, right? It's someone sees this on social, they go and read the post, you position yourself as the expert and answer that question with high value content, and then you're calling them to a next step. If we just led with a social post that said, get a free quote, it's a lot less likely they're gonna do that, but it's a lot more likely they could read this and then go through that step by step. Does that make sense? So if you do this, do not forget the calls to action at the end of your blogs. That is a missed opportunity.
So for those of us that are more on the retail side, would the call to action be like discount or
yeah,
something like that?
Yep, 10% off your next order if you use this code or something. Okay. Yep, something that they can bring in as an action to take. Okay. So let's get into AI. How can Jim write all this content on a budget with limited time? So AI is a great spot to do that. How many of you guys have used AI for before in your marketing? Yeah, like over half the room, which is amazing. For those of you that didn't raise your hand, does that surprise you? No? Okay. So AI is a great place because even though you're going to inject your own authority into that blog, it gives you a place to start. It gives you the framework. Usually when you put into AI, you'll get the headline, the bullet points, the outro, and then you can go in and really make it your own. And smaller businesses using content AI tools actually end up spending less on digital marketing overall, right? It saves you time, gives you a great place to start, and you have the framework for actually posting and leveraging AI. So then how do you write, schedule, and publish blogs and social? So typically, these are the different tool sets that you would need to go and constantly create really good blog posts. You need an actual tool to post blogs, and that could be something like WordPress. I'm sure we've all heard of WordPress, Drop-in Blog, Blogger. Like there's a bunch of tools out there. Please, yeah. You guys feel free to take pictures of this. There's lots of great tools out there for blogs that you can go and do. There's also some really great scheduling tools, which if you've ever heard like about mega batching or micro batching, you can go and actually sit down and create like 10 blog posts at once and schedule them out over time. So then you say like, hey, every Monday, like Monday for 3 hours, I'm going to write on my blogs, write on my emails, write on my social. be done for the week, and it just goes out auto-magically. So there's things like Later and Co-Schedule and Buffer, where you can actually schedule out your blogs and schedule out even some of your social media. And then, of course, like AI tools, we've all heard of Chatbot. If you haven't heard of Chatbot, then you've probably been sleeping for a few months. But Chatbot GPT is a great one. OpenAI, where you can go and say, like, write me a blog post about X and give me 4 bullet points, and it will do it. And then you can read it and say, this sucks, make it funnier or make it more whatever, and it will go back and rewrite that for you. So that's a great one. There's also things like Jasper, should be Chat, not Chart. Don't Google that. Jasper Chat and Bard AI, great open AI platforms. Like AI is constantly evolving and changing. And then social media publishing tools like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Loomly, which are really nice. You can actually go in and schedule all of your posts. So same thing, you can sit down and schedule. So there's lots of amazing tools out there. And the only problem is there's lots of tools, and you can absolutely get those. But the cool thing is what we've done too, a lot of you guys in here, I think, have Genie Rocket. But if you didn't know this, you can actually do all of this inside of Genie Rocket. So option 1, you can absolutely do that. If you do have Genie Rocket or you haven't considered it, we have a brand new updated blog section. So you can write great blogs all inside of the platform and actually click a robot head, and it will help you write the entire blog. You can say, I'm writing this kind of section. I want it to be in this kind of tone, and it will write that entire content for you. And you can schedule them out. You can say, I want this to go out this Friday, next Friday, following Friday, schedule them all. And then you can post and schedule your social media inside of Genie Rocket too and link back to your blogs. So for those of you that have Genie Rocket already, I just want to let you know you can do all this in that tool. For those of you that don't, you can get this, but these are also some great resources you can use to follow that system. And again, that system that I'm mentioning, just to kind of recap, is coming up with those FAQs, core products and services, 5 FAQs for each of those products and services, turning each of those into a really great blog with maybe a really great video, and then linking to those when you're doing social and emails and videos. So every time you're posting, I want you to think less about what's my quick from the hip social post I'm going to fire out, and think more about, hey, would this make more sense to link it to a bigger blog post that answers a bigger question that has a bigger opportunity to lead them into a next step? And don't be scared to leverage AI to help you write that content. So you might think you're the expert, and I'm sure you are, but I want you to go to Chatbot or go to one of these tools or the Genie Rocket AI and actually type in the blog post content, and you'll be surprised what it comes out with. For those of you that raised your hands earlier that are using Chatbot, have you guys been pretty happy overall with some of the content it's been able to create with AI? Yes. It's impressive, right? It's not junk. It's pretty good. So if you haven't done that yet, for those of you that didn't raise your hand, you should try it. I think it's really going to help you. Yes, sir.
Can I add one to this?
Please.
Consensus?
Consensus.
Yeah, Consensus will give you research documents. So it'll go through PubMed and will actually pull up actual articles.
That's great.
And you'll be able to create citations with Consensus. So you have to write like a publishable document that has to be research based, and you have to put all of your, Chicago style or whatever citations at the end, the footnotes. You can all do that with Consensus.
That's wonderful. I love that. Any other, while we're on that topic, and in chat too, if you're online, any other resources that you guys have used and really enjoyed for AI that's not up here? Is Chatbot GPT the primary everyone's using? Okay, cool. So what I want to do, if it's okay, is just take a few minutes just to show you a little bit, for those of you that are using Genie Rocket, just to remind you some of the things it can do while you're trying to execute this strategy. And for those of you that don't have it, you can just be enlightened on what it can do, so if it ever makes sense. And then after we end this, we're going to just open it up for some questions. And if you guys want to stick around for even just a quick demo of the actual tool, if you haven't seen it in action, would love to show you like how you can actually push some buttons, pop open AI, have it create the blogs. It's a pretty neat process. Is that okay? Yeah. All right. Well, so the neat thing is not only blogs, but you can also use AI in things like websites and funnels, social media, and email marketing. So don't limit yourself to thinking of just blogs. And in Genie Rocket specifically, we actually have AI, and it's powered by Chatbot GPT in each of these areas. So if you're going to post a blog or update your website or funnel or create a new social media post or do email marketing, you can literally click a little robot head and it'll open up inside of there and help you create that content for you. So you don't have to think as much. You just have to put in the right inputs. And yeah, guys, so many small businesses are using AI. So I do want to say, like, don't be afraid to jump into it. And it's not always going to come out perfect. When we say AI plus human, this is where you need to make sure you have enough time to actually look at what's being produced and modify it, right? So it's going to give you some framework, but you need to go in there and say, this is where I'm better than the robot, right? So don't be afraid to edit, manage before you publish, but this will give you a really, really great head start. And just some quick screenshots. So like, for example, inside of Genie Rocket, for people that are using AI for landing pages and email marketing, we have hundreds of pre-designed templates already for like email marketing and landing pages that you can just pop open, and then you can use the AI bot to help fill it in with content, which is really nice. And yeah, same thing for blogs, social, email, and landing pages. One of the neat things about AI is you can make it where you choose the tone of voice you want it to write in. For ChatGPT, it's a little hidden. You don't get a drop down. You have to say, write it in a funny tone or write it in a serious tone. If you're using it in Genie Rocket, there's actually a drop down and you can say, I want it to be serious, bold, funny, etc. What's that? Full of cat puns or Star Wars puns, maybe in the future. Yes, that would be good. And then you say how many variations you want it to write. So that's the one thing I love about the Genie Rocket AI, is it doesn't just give you like the polarizing, here's the output from your input. It says, here's 3 variations. Which one do you want? And you get to choose it, use it, publish it. So really nice. And then if you guys haven't seen all the stuff Genie Rocket can do, it is social media scheduling, the email marketing, the blogging. You can build websites and funnels, unlimited users, contacts, full sales CRM, two-way texting, reputation management, take online payments. It does a lot. Not everyone uses all features, but for those that use a lot of these features, it's really helpful because you don't have to have 17 tools you've got to log into and try to duct tape together. That's what we used to do before we started using this, and it's super helpful. And so it usually replaces a ton of tools that cost a lot of money. And again, if you're interested in this at all, you can stay afterwards. And I'm just going to do a quick demo just to show you kind of the blog and some of the features on it, of what it does. And then I did want to, before we open it up for questions at the end, I did also want to mention we do a really neat what's called a Rocket Fuel Retreat. I think we have a couple folks in the room that have done it, where we spend either a half day or full day with you guys and actually help you like shoot video, write content, build a funnel, get it launched, help you set up Facebook ads. We do everything in one day. So by the time you're out the door here, and pregnancy help for you for the gala. It's a real fun experience, but it helps you kind of get exposed to everything really fast because we build it on the tool, but we do it, me and my team are in here with you for a full day, knock it out, and then help you like become super users on the system. So that's it for the content and AI with blogs. Let's open it up for questions. What questions do you guys have on either how to create content or blogging or anything that we covered today? Any questions? And online, if you guys have questions too, you can throw them in the chat. And Mr. Logan over here will provide probably some better answers than I am up here.
So when you think about like the AI graphic art stuff, like to create social media, what do you think about
Yeah,
the social media content aspect for like the AI for graphics and stuff? Is that like non-personalized? Like, what's your opinion on something like that? Because you could manipulate a chat GPT thing to be in your own voice, but then there's all these AI tools that can make graphics. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
So that makes social media so easy. But then it's like this sterile feeling, like non-personalized. Like, how do you feel about that? How do you make it more personalized?
Have you guys seen some of the AI graphics stuff that you can do? They are, or they have extra hands. What's that? Yep, that's a good one. So I've seen them look really cool, and then I've also seen them look really crazy. You know, where people have like 4 eyes and 3 arms, and I think in the right context, it can be cool, but I personally think people still want authentic human, like real produced content. And that's going to create a greater demand for that. Because I think we're going to see an excess of robot generated content that's going to make the human stuff feel refreshing.
The healthy way to look at it that we've found is that rather than looking at ChatGPT as a tool that will write your content for you, it changes your job from being a copywriter to a copy editor. So you still have to have a vital impact in the process, but you still very much so need to read through the content, put your own flavor on it, change some wording, stuff like that. But your job goes from, man, I got to think of all this stuff to write, to, okay, let me take what it wrote and then change it to fit what I would say or how I would want to say it or convey the message that I'm trying to get across. So don't, with regards to the imagery and stuff, I really don't think it's right to that point yet. Some people have asked questions about that, about how would you utilize it. I don't think it's there. But when it comes to chatbot and when it talks about ChatGPT and it comes to content writing, you still have a job in the process. It doesn't exclude the human element. It just changes what the human element is. So I would kind of view it in that regard.
I have a question about that. So with this blog writing, I loved it. This was like really refreshing to hear all this. So then the creative side on top of the blog, do you think that you need to kind of think through, like how many photos and videos do you think that isn't oversaturating a blog post, but then like adds that attention grabbing? So if you just have walls of text, people are like, I'm done. Or I like these lists, but I really want to see more. Like, do you like more than less? Do you guys have, oh, you do. Okay.
So 2 to 3 graphics tends to be the case that we use. 2 to 3. A video is also always good, especially if you're speaking on some kind of topic where you can provide some kind of video, because attention spans like talk about can be lost. When you write blogs, it's really great to write them in list format. Individuals are really great at whenever we see blogs, we want to see things, just skim through and be like, oh, which point tracks me the most? And then we read from that point. Okay, it is on. I was making sure it was on. But it's really great when you are writing these FAQs. So for instance, like top 3 ways that you can winter-proof your pipes, or like some kind of list format, because this is something that, we were taught way back in college, is that a big bulky paragraph is really intimidating to write because your brain doesn't know where it can take a break. When you break things up, even if it isn't in list format and you break it up into small paragraphs, your brain has the ability to look at that and be like, I can take a break here, I can take a break here, I can take a break here. So the ability to read it seems less intimidating subliminally. So just keep that in mind when you are writing. Have lots of breaks, have lots of list formats. To answer your question with regards to images, 2 to 3, perhaps a video. Video can be anything from like a news article, something that's like publicly out there that you could use. Yeah, something supportive. Yeah.
No, let's hear it.
What about the AI to do a video for you, right? To add more content. Do we have that yet? That puts me out of a job, but.
Wow.
So yeah, then your deepfakes are great.
Yeah. So yeah, with regards to video and imagery, it's not quite there yet. Keep an eye on it because it's growing fast, but yeah, it's not quite there yet. I would refrain from the imagery right now, but in terms of, like I said, writing content, yeah, it's there. You can start using that.
I have one thing to mention too. I can't talk until I get the mic.
So for asking the questions like the FAQs, one thing you can put into ChatGPT is, what are the main questions that somebody has about plumbing, if you're a plumber? And you just fill it in, what are the main things about the coffee shop? Yeah, that sort of thing. That's something that I've done before.
Good point.
Yeah,
that's great. The nap queen.
I was just going to say, for someone who's new to ChatGPT, I've been using it as rewrite this, or make this sound better.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind because I'm way too wordy. And so it's and so that's an easy way to ease into it.
It's great.
So I wanted to touch on the image making really quickly. So I don't know if I'm a designer, so I'm in Photoshop and Illustrator a lot of the time. So I don't know if that's a super accessible thing for everybody. But right now, AI is integrated with Photoshop. So basically, I'm a photographer, so I can put in my photos So I could take a picture of all of you guys and then say, put all of these people in space. And then it would make the entire background space and I wouldn't have to do any work. So if you are creating stuff, again, Photoshop isn't super accessible to every single person, but if you are in that space and you are using those kinds of things, you can absolutely use the content you have, but enhance it with AI. So I wouldn't replace, because people still want that human touch, but as much as you can enhance it with AI, I would recommend that.
What tool?
Photoshop, like Adobe.
So Photoshop, Canva has it too. Can you put me in space? I put a picture of me in Canva or Photoshop and
I haven't used the Photoshop or the Canva one just because I've tried it one time and I tried it during beta and it was just like not ready for me to try everything. So I just stopped using it. But Photoshop is very like, you can just put, because I do like set design. So you could like put models in there and be like, add a tree here. And it's like, looks real. Like it's very, very, very cool. Yeah.
Something to that note too is we're kind of talking from you don't have any kind of creative artistic ability to begin with. If you do though, a good way to use Midjourney is compositionally. So for instance, if you don't have really an idea of how you want something to look in terms of compositionally speaking, like where you want to frame your main subject, you know, what you want the background to look like, the subject material around it, it's great for that. So if you want to like say like a man standing on a cliff, it can give you compositionally a good framework for what it could look like. And then you take that, map it out if you are artistically inclined, and then build your own image off that using your own means and your own artistic ability. But it gives you a good rough draft or blueprint to build off of, so you can start, you know, here and then add your elements to it. So that's kind of a functional way to use it right now. But in terms of total image generation, it's not quite to that point yet.
So how much cool skills do I need to figure out a Midjourney?
To figure out a Midjourney, it's really
you just know
not.
how to type.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it easy as the chat?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's improving. I think it's on version 5.1 now. So it's getting a lot better, and it is improving on a lot of those things we talked about with like additional fingers or missing hands and stuff like that. It still has a lot of issues, but it is getting better. So keep an eye on it for sure.
You can give it a style too. Like you can say, because me and my brother were playing around with it. He's in film and video, but it was like, do Spider-Man surfing on Jello Pixar style. And it will give you like a Pixar original creative that looks like it came from Pixar. And you just have to type in what you want. So you can literally say like, make it more real, make it like anime. And
so then do you own that image? Like, can we get in trouble for like putting out marketing stuff?
you'll have to talk to Elon Musk about that.
Yeah, I was just curious because then it's like we're spending money on printing things or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden we don't own it. Like, is there any kind of, that's such a debatable thing, but right now it's the Wild West. We can do it.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's a good point. It is Wild Wild West right now. The issue right now, the gray area, is that it has to supplement that material to create it from somewhere. And there have been individuals trying to take legal action against Midjourney because they source artistic material for reference, and then individuals create that, and then they try and sell their own prints. So right now, there's nothing. I wouldn't hold on to that too hard because I feel like that's going to get nixed pretty quick. So it's gray area right now.
It's great.
The art wouldn't exist if you didn't type it in the first place. So it's a unique thought. So it's your own art. It's not. It's the same thing as mixed media and taking like photos from National Geographic and splicing them together. It's no different than that. So there's no argument there. Excuse me?
Especially if you're submitting your own photo and we go back
Yes.
to the one we were
Yes.
talking about.
If you keep it unique to your content,
Yeah.
instead of being enhanced, then it's all your own stuff.
And that's the argument for it, is like individuals that create art based on like collage images from like magazines. Like if an individual creates a collage and they sell it, you don't get sued for that, even though you use magazine pieces. So it's Wild Wild West. People may argue it's for it and arguments against it. Like I said, so the collage example is kind of one of those ones that people have used to say like, well, you don't get sued for using, like you said, National Geographic to create a collage using images from a magazine. So it's the same thing as a mixtape. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Or like make your own CD for, department.
Yeah.
You don't get in trouble with that. You sort of distributing on the, and now which one do you want this?
Yeah.
Then you have to get video to provide royalties. But if it's just an individual one shot, and it's all your own thought, and it's your own image, and you're collaborating with a question, you have to go downstairs.
Yeah, those are great questions. So remember too, like when it comes to content and what Google pulls, although images are very important to support your content and videos are important to support your content, make sure that they're content led first, right? So when you're answering those questions, make sure it's real written content, and then you can supplement those with three-handed Spider-Mans and all those other things. But content is king. That's what's going to live forever. And even when different social media platforms change and go away, right? Like your content will still live on your blog. So that's again another thing. Imagine a year from now, if you put everything on a social media channel and for some reason that social media channel went away, that would be like leased land that you do not have anymore, as opposed to if every social media post you had went to one of your blogs, and let's say you did one post a month, now you've got like 12 really great blog posts that are yours no matter what happens on social. And you can always re-edit those, repost those, reshare those. So that's the importance of having your own content. And then AI is simply just a tool to help you learn like what content to post, how to put it in there, and how to really be that content category king and have things to post about.
Something to look out for when it comes to the visual AI stuff too is that right now, individuals that create art, they are selling the art. They aren't selling the paintbrush that made the art. We're seeing a shift where what's happening now is individuals, because the art generated through AI is useless without the right prompts. Like you can put whatever you want, but you'll get something different than somebody else. So the prompts are what's becoming the unique thing. So individuals are now selling online like prompt guides. Like if you want this kind of thing, here's this prompt. If you want this kind of thing, here's this prompt. So its equivalency is like if you had an artist that painted, if Da Vinci, instead of selling, his paintings, he sold his paintbrushes. That's kind of like the difference now. Yeah. So that's kind of how it's shifting, is the prompt itself is becoming what's valuable, not the art itself.
What's Da Vinci without his paintbrush?
That's the philosophical question there.
Yeah. Cool, guys. So stick around if you want to hang out for a little bit. We can do some open networking. You got some passive business cards, and then I'll just do a quick demo of some stuff on Genie Rocket if you care to stick around. Those online, thank you so much for joining. If you want to learn more about Genie Rocket and how to get that, you can just go to genierocket.com if you're online and go through those steps. And hope you guys start to leverage AI and blogs to create some amazing content that's not just on rented land. But thank you guys for joining me this Friday. If you're on Genie Rocket, next Friday, we're doing our Cosmic Quick Fix. That is our live tool training. So when you're on the platform, every Friday we do either a BAM, a Be a Marketer workshop like this, or we do live training. So next Friday, live training. That's it. Any other announcements I'm forgetting, guys? Anything else? All right. Thanks for joining. Thanks, guys.